Back to the Planet Paintball Podcast, brought to you by 1023 Sportswear and Southwest Paintball in Bayfield, Colorado. This is officially episode 1 of season 2. I don't know if it'll be labeled that way, but it is. So we're going to jump right into it. I got Matt from the Chiefs and the Leftovers with me. How you doing, man?
I'm doing very well, man. Thanks for having me on. How are you?
Good. And I know those two are very big parts of what you do, but you've done a lot more in paintball for sure.
Yeah.
But let's start with just how you found the game.
Dude, how I found the game. So I was 10 years old, and one of my best friends at the time had picked up from Academy, had picked up a little spider, and he was kind of a troublemaker, love him, but troublemaker type. And he used to do things that we shouldn't do, like, shoot at paintballs at the top of roofs and cars that would drive by and things like that. And I was like, hey, man, we can't be doing this. This is not cool. Let's go funnel this into something else. So we set up like a little shooting range in the ditch behind his house instead, and was able to deter him from doing, juvenile things with the paintball markers that we don't condone people doing, and set up cans and different bottles and things to kind of shoot at and get some target practice. I was like, man, this is fun. I have good aim. This is cool. And so I made a little bit of money and went and picked up my own little Spider Victor setup and just started kind of playing around. The first time I ever played legitimately was at Paintball Edge up in Janesville, Wisconsin. And I'm from Houston.
Okay.
So people are like, how'd you play paintball for the first time in Wisconsin? That's kind of wild. But my family lives up there. My family's from that area. And so I was up there visiting in the summer, took my paintball equipment with me. And then my mom and I actually went to a garage sale nearby randomly. And somebody was selling an E99.
Okay.
And so I was like, sweet, this is like meant to be. I'm going to pick up a new marker now. So I got the E99 and rolled out to the Edge paintball. My brother and I and my mom actually ended up joining us. And so I got to play with my mom for the first time ever. So
That's awesome.
I'll never forget leaving, playing like the Castle Field and playing all the stuff there and seeing the speedball field, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I hear all these markers popping off. And at the time, I'm young, scary to me because it's a lot faster than what I'm used to. I think looking back, they were probably like D12, right? Like, who knows? But at the time, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Like, I'm going to try this one day. I'm going to jump into it. And when I got back to Houston, I rolled out to Tanks Paintball and met John Jackson and Fuzzy Jackson. I'm sure some of the guys listening to this know who those names are. Met them and they saw me. Were like, hey man, you want to hop in? Hopped in and got destroyed and got hooked. And the rest is history. Here we are now, 25 years later.
Nice.
So
when did the tournament scene start for you?
man, so I played in the Houston Rookie League here in Houston,
Okay.
3-man series. And that was, 4. I guess I was 13, 12, maybe 2003.
Okay.
I think it was 2003 was my first event. And, one of my first events ever, I played with Cam McCarty. I'm not sure if everyone is familiar with that name too, from VCK. So he and I played on the same team, and then he obviously went on to play pro, which was super cool. But I don't think it was, maybe fall of 2003 was my first 3-man tournament legitimately. So
Nice.
yeah.
And then, as mentioned, kind of famous for the Chiefs, right? How and why did that come about? Because it's really unique to me in that, like, obviously you got a marketing background, but you've been able to make that into like almost if you play paintball, the Chiefs, a real brand.
Yeah, which is pretty neat, man. It kind of just started first as and the way it came about, I won't get into too many specifics with it, but there's kind of like I'm really big into like double entendres and stuff like that, like rap music, like Eminem and stuff like that, right? With using kind of multiple, definitions for things or uses for things or however. And so the name, I've always been really keen on Native American culture and just kind of what they represent and just everything about that entire group of people. I think they're phenomenal and just badass, honestly. And I've really been into Chiefs just kind of forever. And everyone thinks, oh, because you're a Kansas City Chiefs fan. Absolutely not. That's not why. But there's a kind of a hidden meaning, and I won't get too deep into it, but it's kind of a funny if you know type of thing. And only so many people know it, but I don't think I want to spill it here.
Okay, fair enough.
And so it just kind of was one of those things that I kind of just spit out, and it just kind of rolled off the tongue. And the people that I was with when I spit it out, it's kind of like, dude, that kind of just sounds dope. That the name just sounds cool. Everyone's gonna assume that we're from Canada, so like we that kind of comes with the territory. I'm sure we'll get that a lot, which we have. And so started that back in 2013, and we threw together a squad for the Huntington Beach NPPL event, which was the last like official legitimate NPPL event prior to HK kind of taking over and doing that event. I got guys like Nico Hyde. I'm sure people know that name. X Factor, VCK, Houston Heat. He played with us. The Boyan brothers played with us. At the time, they were playing with NorCal Fusion, and as of late, have played for multiple teams. Pro, semi-pro. Paul from Violence. If you guys know Paul, he was on the squad as well. Danny Bergman, the guy who started the whole VSB movement back in the day. For anyone out there listening that knows anything about that. So just kind of a group of some hood rats, man, wanting to play some paintball. And for some reason on PB Nation at the time, we caught some traction. People liked the name. People just kind of were vibing with who was on the squad, and we got some buzz. And next thing you know, man, we're playing, and people were leaving. This was crazy. People were leaving the pro field to come watch our points, which was wild to me because we had packed sidelines. I mean, everyone was showing up, showing out for us, rolling over to the pits, like coming over, dapping us up, just showing us love, hanging out with us. It was just kind of overwhelming. Like, damn, this is kind of neat. Everyone's like, dude, the long sleeves are sweet, man. Like, can we get some more merch? Can we get some more merch? And I hadn't even thought about it at the time. I was like, oh, cool, man. Yeah, I'll make some extras. So I ended up making a few extras, and they sold out in like 5 seconds. Has kind of spawned to what it is now. But man, like I said, that the support we got from the community was crazy. People just showing up to watch us. Gary did a paintball photography. He did a photo of us, of Nico and I, coming down the Dorito side, and ended up in the LA Times.
Wow, that's cool.
So that was pretty crazy. So they came out, or wait, was it maybe Gary's photo didn't make the LA Times? Maybe LA Times, that's what it was. LA Times' photo, they came out and shot the event, and they
Okay.
happened to come show up because they saw the crowd. I think it's one of
They
the photos
came and
Gary did
shot
of us.
you
But
instead of the pros.
they came and saw the crowd at our field and came over and took a picture, and it was just Nico Hyde and I, and we're in the caption LA Times, made it to the paper that week, so that was pretty memorable. And it's like, man, this is fun. Like I've always been big on throw together teams and bringing people together, which we'll obviously, get into more with the leftovers. But when I saw the traction and the support, and people were just like, man, I like the name, I like the vibe of it. It's just cool. And, the ag, scene and all
Yeah.
that, right? So it just kind of started popping off, and, next thing you know, here we are, I don't know, it's, 13 years later, we're still rocking.
Yeah.
So.
And you guys primarily do like 10 mans now, right?
Yeah, so we did some X-Ball back in the day, kind of had a hiatus for a while. We kind of went from a team to a brand and kind of did more merch than we did playing, just because the demand was there and people were like, hey man, I want to buy a jersey. Hey man, can I buy a jersey? Hey man, can I buy a jersey? And so we just kept coming out with new designs, new things. And shout out to Jeremy Doan. He did a lot for the Maple Leaf Chiefs, and a lot of the design work. He plays for Aftermath. He did a lot of the design work, 98.7% of it through the years, for us. And so we were just kind of selling merch for a hot minute. And then people were like, bro, when are you gonna put a team back in? And so I'm like, all right, let's do it. So World Cup 2021, decided to put a 10-man squad in. I made a post saying like, Chiefs are coming back, 2021 World Cup. I probably had 150 messages that week of people saying like, can I
Wow.
play? Can I play? Can I play? Can I play? And it was like overwhelming. I'm like, this is insane. And so I'm like, all right, man, let's do it. So we put a squad together and ran it, and got second place. Had a little bit of roughing controversy there at the very in the finals. The ref pulled a major on the wrong team, and that was the whole thing, da 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 da. And afterwards, he's like, well, man, our bad, sorry. It's like,
Uh-huh.
okay. So we got second place, in our first event back as a team, and the momentum kind of picked up from there, and it kind of reignited my love for paintball and getting back into playing some more myself. And I'm just forever grateful for the Chiefs and everyone who's come through the organization. So it's been fun.
Awesome. Yeah, I've stolen one of your players over the course of the few years at World Cup once or
Yeah.
twice. So I appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah. What's cool, man, we have such an army, so it's like, hey, if you can't play, the thing is too, a lot of our guys were like good, right? So like their X-ball teams will be playing into Sunday. So it's like you come Sunday and 10 man's on Sunday. Snap, I got to find 5 replacements because those 5 dudes are playing Sunday
Yeah.
now because they're good at paintball, obviously, or else they wouldn't be rocking with us generally. So I'm like, okay, audible. What other 5 dudes, within our ecosystem can we pull from? And no matter how many variations of guys we pulled and grabbed, pretty much always ended up on the podium at every NXL event. So it's been pretty impressive, our run for a little while.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely impressive. And then done pretty well in the classic format also.
And the classic format, we won the Chicago event a couple years ago, which was the big one, which was the championship at the time. I've done decent at a couple other events. That man, ICPL, the classic format is just a blast. I did not think I would enjoy it as much as I did coming from such a tournament, X-ball, speedball format, type of play. And I started playing hyperball again and rocking in the woods and some mounds. And I was like, dude, this is sick. So we'd slam some beers and run around. And the good thing about it too, a 10 man especially, is that like you have more friends to play with, right? Like it's not 5-on-5. You don't just have four homies beside you now. You got 9 other friends around you, and that's twice as much fun. And on top of that, it's like you lose a guy or two, cool, it's not so detrimental, like cool,
Mm-hmm.
we got 7 or 8 more guys, like we're good, no problem. And it's just the feel and the vibe of ICPL. It's just cool. So I recommend that to everybody
Yeah. I'm a
so
big
much.
fan of mechanical.
Yeah. Shout out and rest in peace, Tim Montrose here for kind of reigniting that and letting us kind of take that and play off of that. Cause, without that guy doing that, who knows if we'd have, quite the resurgence. And
But yeah.
a lot of people have obviously kind of piggybacked off of that. I mean, even the league, right? Kind of piggybacked off of how well, the Iron City Classic was doing and the demand for that. We're like, oh, cool, let's start the ICPL. And spawn. Other people started popping up and doing their thing. So shout out and rest in peace. Lost a good one there.
Yeah. Well, and I think he's responsible for us having mechanical at the national events even now, just because the ICPL went so well.
Yeah, yeah. Just kind of all that kind of was a domino effect from kicking off one Iron City Classic, and
Yeah.
now here we are. So
Well, that kind of naturally progresses us into the leftovers.
yeah,
So let's talk about how you started that and why.
yeah. So the leftovers, man. I've always been. I mean, since I started doing paintball competitively, I've always been about just bringing people together to enjoy this. Kind of with me and doing random throw together teams for various events that I play. I'm like, oh man, I hadn't always been a guy who had a full-time squad. I had a guy who had a team that I played with every single weekend. Super committed. I couldn't always do that. I had a handful over the years, no doubt. Um, but I never really had like a home per se. And I was kind of a free agent for hire a lot of times, and I would jump on squads. And I kind of like that too, because then I'm like, cool, man, I'm playing for a Florida team. Now I'm playing for a St. Louis team, and I'm playing with my Houston local team, guys that I know. And so I kind of get to well round myself in the community that I'm surrounded by, and just meet people outside of my bubble. Uh, because we didn't have Facebook like we do now to have these groups and all these things,
Yeah.
back in the day. So any chance I got to connect with people, on a level of hey man, like you play paintball, I play paintball. Sweet man, like I got a bigger network of people all over. I've always been about. And so, I've met some of my best friends from throw together squads. One of my best friends who officiated my wedding was in a 2009 Chicago TSP event with me. I picked him up last minute
Nice.
to play with us, and he's my friend to this day. 17 years later, it's insane. And I wanted to give that opportunity to other people. And a lot of times, some of these stragglers, these guys that don't have squads full time, aren't always confident to go out and start their own squad to bring people together, or they just don't want to, right? Like they're like, that's just too much work. It's a headache. Like it's a lot. I don't know. I don't want to do it. And so I saw a need. There's so many people that wanted to play these events. And at the time, I was the marketing and media director for the NXL. And I'm like, man, I want to bring some more people into these events, to, boost up some of the team count, because obviously that's great. But first and foremost, like just get some guys that were like, hey man, I couldn't make the event, I didn't have a squad. And I heard that a lot. So I was like, okay, well, let me remedy this. Let me put together a free agent squad. And so I made a post saying, hey guys, we're throwing together a D5 X ball team. Obviously start lower, because I think that market is super, super important.
Yeah.
Those D5 guys are, the future of it. And it's good to give them a good experience early. And so I made a squad for that. The guys were super happy. They really enjoyed it. And the way the team name kind of came about was we were kind of all just kind of BSing around in the chat. And I think it just kind of got said like, man, we kind of feel like some, like we're like this, like the leftover scraps, like some food scraps. And then I said like I was like the leftovers, and just kind of made a thing. And everyone was like the leftovers, like we're the leftovers. And everybody kind of rallied around it. Like, yeah, we're the leftovers. And I'm like, okay, that sounds fun. And it's kind of what it is. Like the leftover players that didn't get picked for dodgeball essentially,
Yeah.
are all banding together in this free agent army, essentially to come out and ball, where they otherwise would have missed it. So man, it's been incredible. I've had about 1,000 people roughly that have come through the program since 2022. World Cup alone, we had 19 squads. We had 125 people from
Wow.
11 countries. It was phenomenal. Just the response and the overall support from the industry, and just people being so appreciative of having a place to play and a network has been so overwhelmingly just incredible. And honestly, one of my key highlights of being in paintball for 25 years now. I've done a lot, but this I think takes the cake in my opinion, because it's just the gratitude and hearing people say, "Hey man, thanks for making this, dude. I wouldn't have been here. I wouldn't have made World Cup. I wouldn't have flown from France or from Italy or from Venezuela or from all these different
Yeah.
countries." And it's like Australia, New Zealand. I mean, it's just so cool that they came over to play with this group to meet more people. And they not only do they meet the people that are in their squad, right? The 7 or 8 or 9 other people on their team, but they're meeting people on the other squads, right? We're coming together and they see a guy in a jersey and they're like, hey, da 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 da, like you play at the level, hey, hey. Or we have guys that help each other in the pits. So we'll have our D5 line help us other, D4 team, the D4 team help the D5 team. So we're all kind of a community there where, hey man, all hands on deck, let's help each other and kind of pay it forward. And these guys are meeting people and creating friendships, and I'm seeing them travel the country. Their wives and girlfriends are now friends. They travel the country together to play other events and in other areas, regionals and things, because they met on this team. And that to me, man, it's just been just so awesome.
No,
Just so awesome.
that's
So
really
yeah,
awesome.
speaking of the jersey, I got it right here. So we got the Chinese takeout right there. So
Nice. How'd that logo come about? Is that
dude,
just your favorite
so
leftover?
yeah, well, yeah. So I was, man. We've had a couple iterations of jersey design over the years, none that were really like, specific to like the name. Really, it was just kind of like said the text, the leftovers or whatever. But I was like, man, what food is like something that you always find? Or I don't know, not always find, but like what's a good like leftover food? And like, oh man, like Chinese food always slaps. Like later, like you heat it back up, and you're like, oh man, the Chinese food is just good again. And so I just like, I'm gonna do a Chinese food box. And so we've kind of now spun it off and done kind of the whole chopstick, takeout box style. And, one of our little emojis we use for a bunch of things is a little takeout emoji,
Yeah.
for things. And it's just fun, right? It's kind of part of that like marketing and branding and stuff like that, I guess, that I like to bring to things is how can I make this fun and, just different and not just, cookie cutter. Cause I feel like so many people are just slapping basic stuff on things and they're like, oh, look, here's my brand. And it's like, oh man, it's just basic text in a circle or something. It's like
Yeah.
they like the brand because the person behind it, which I like as well. Right? I want people to like the brand because of me too. But also I want them to like vibe with the brand itself and like the team itself and the logo and what it shows and have it be fun and be like, I'm repping this and I feel cool rocking this. It's just
Well,
fun.
yeah. That
So that
that's
was
super important.
Yeah, and we'll do stuff like chants where it's like, it's time to eat, you know what I mean? And
Hmm.
like, we're heating up, you know what I mean? Like you hear, I mean, like heat them up. It's like this heat thing, right? But like we're heating up, and it's things like that. Like, we were cold, but like now we're hot. Like just like we'll just throw out random chants and hype up things that are all related to food, leftover style. And so it's just fun.
So how does that work? Does someone just message you and say, "Hey," and then you tell them like, "Hey, this is the basic cost for it," or what?
Yeah, so we have an Instagram and we have a Facebook page as well. So people will kind of stumble upon us and shoot a message. But we have our Facebook group and it's called the Leftovers Free Agent Team Group. So you can find that on Facebook, the Leftovers Free Agent Team Group. Join the group. We got 1,300 plus people in there right now. I make posts for each event, for each division that we're going to have a team for. And essentially I say, hey, if you're interested in this division, just tap in, drop a comment. And once we get a handful of replies within a post, we start group chats. So then once we start the group chat, then we start kind of planning and coordinating and people get to meet and get to know each other a little bit better. And we say, hey man, what position do you play? And da 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 da. Hey, if you guys have a friend that wants to join in, I always love when people come in pairs. It's really nice when you can go do a new experience with a friend. So you have, eight unfamiliar faces, but one kind of your safety net of like, hey, my best friend and I did this together. It's kind of a fun memory for us. And so I always promote people bringing one teammate from a team that they play with otherwise, or just a friend that also needs a team. We start that group chat, start planning. We're locked in. The league is awesome here. They give us the early bird price no matter when. We pay the entry fee for any of the teams.
It's awesome.
So everybody always pays the lowest possible entry fee price. So they're not worried about, oh no, late fee, an extra $300 for the team. Oh no, because it adds up.
No, it does. And as the guy who's organized teams, like it's
Yeah.
frustrating. And then you're like, do I go ahead and pay and just, hope everyone's
Roll the
gonna
dice and
pay?
hope.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, luckily no. So I'm not ever doing that because it doesn't work out. And I've kind of created a system now where for a few years, people told me I'm a big word is bond. So if you tell me like, hey, I'm going to play, I'm like, cool. I say that you're going to play, or, you say you're going to play. I believe you. You say you're going to send me money on Monday. I believe you. I'll hold the spot for you. And too many times now I've had guys that would back out or kind of ghost for a little bit and then come back randomly after I held the spot for 2 weeks and they're like, oh bro, sorry, I can't make it. I'm like, oh man, well I turned down like 6 people because, we only had one spot left and you said you were gonna play. So that puts me in a position too. And it's happened a couple times here and there naturally, right? You have a bunch of people, things happen, life happens. Some people think they're going to commit and then they change their mind or they find a new team and they're too scared to tell you or they don't know how to break the news to you because they're like, oh, well, I don't want to be a jerk. It's like, oh man, well, not telling me is worse than
Yeah.
leaving me, ghosted. So now what I do is I take a little deposit.
Okay.
So you pay a deposit that locks your spot in. So once you pay the deposit, and then the final amount isn't due until roughly right when that final deadline is. So we can start a team right now, pay your deposit, lock in. We get 8 guys, and then a couple days before that final deadline, leave a little cushion room, just to make sure that if something happens, I need to fill that void. I have a little more flexibility
Yeah.
to do that. And then you pay your remainder then and then you pay for paint up front. We currently work with Infamous. We'll be working with them starting at World Cup and through this year. And we have a partnership with them now to shoot their titanium paint. And we currently, as far as jerseys go, we rock with Kinetic. So we kind of are combined rocking with Kinetic. We some of our guys will get jerseys. It's not mandatory at all. If you want a jersey,
Okay.
pick one up. If you don't want a jersey, cool, man. We can it looks like a store together, which is what it is. So like, it's all
Yeah.
good, no pressure. But what happens, man, a lot is, you'll have 5, 6 guys on a team that they want a jersey and the other 3 guys are like, nah, I'm good. And they're like, actually, I don't want to be the guy without a jersey. I'll get a jersey too. And then we look like a real team, right? Like we all look like a real squad when you got 6, 7, 8 dudes that are all, and girls. We've had girls play multiple. So
Nice.
that all rock the same stuff. So we look cohesive. So it's cool. And it's fun, obviously. But yeah, then we have squads that are last minute and everyone's wearing anything. And that's cool too. I never put any pressure. If guys wanna grab a jersey, go for it. A lot of times they have. So yeah, so that's cool. So that's essentially kind of the gist of how people get tapped in. So shoot me a message on Facebook, Instagram. I usually direct everybody to the Facebook group just because that's where the posts are, where we can comment on and get the traction and kind of keep tabs. But I always say, man, shoot me a message on the pages. Prefer not on my personal, but that happens a lot, so I'm not too worried about it there. Shoot me a message on on the Facebook or Instagram, and your likeliness of hearing back from me is 10x higher than shooting me a message on my personal. But I won't turn you away if you hit me up on mine either. So that's cool.
Well, let's jump into kind of your career, if you don't mind. So, because you've done a
Yeah,
lot of cool stuff on the business side of it. So, how did you get your first like paintball gig? I guess.
I was 2013. I'll say a name that I know a lot of people will know that are, I say OGs. He's not been out of the game that long, but Sina Asmuda, really good friend of mine, went to college with him. He started filming his brother Omid, who was playing with AC Diesel at the time, and Texas Storm, or actually he played for Texas Storm and then Diesel. So he was filming his brother, and he needed some extra help. I started helping film, for him. He's like, hey man, I did photo work prior, kind of all through school. I did like bands and just kind of random stuff and family photos and just stuff like that, right? Kind of like low key, nothing too crazy. And I was like, dude, video, man, I don't really know about video that much. Like, show me a few things. I'll learn fast. Let's do it. And so I went and filmed a day with him, and he's like, all right, man, well, like you did decent. Like, you want to come help me film some like real life other than paintball stuff? So I'm like, yeah, yeah. Started filming other stuff with him, and I was like, kind of like filming, man. This is fun. And then the Impact series came about. Bart had connected with him to do the Impact series, and he needed the assistance there. So he was like, hey, man, naturally, do you want to come take this project on with me and follow Edmonton Impact around and capture their story and put together kind of a docu-series for that? Said, of course, let's do it. And so ran around with him and got to hang out with the Impact guys a lot and capture a lot of really awesome memories and them on their historic run. I mean, they had, 2 seasons of just pure absolute dominance. And it was really cool to be a part of. And that's in Europe and in the US.
Yeah.
So that was really cool to be a part of, to kind of help capture all that. And just kind of, it was my first legitimate experience around pro players at a greater capacity, which is really cool. And so it was just fun to capture, paintball at the highest level and kind of surpass. I didn't have to go through all the hoops of filming regional, divisional stuff
Hmm.
and whatever. I pretty much just jumped in and
Yeah.
started filming pro stuff, and that was kind of
Got the
wild.
cheat code there, didn't you?
I got the cheat code, yeah. Um, so that was pretty cool there. And one thing led to another. I started working a GI with Cena, doing some filming with them and product videos, and they're running their social media. And then PSP kind of collapsed, and from there the NXL spawned up, and I got asked to kind of help with the social and the webcast stuff, and then essentially rolled into starting Go Sports, which is now MLPB Plus. So I was there to help kind of pioneer the beginning of Go Sports and help get that off the ground. And actually, the first webcast for the NXL, I drove the van that had all the webcast equipment from Dallas, all the way to, was it Ohio or
Yeah,
whatever?
Ohio.
Yeah, yeah. So I drove the van with all the equipment. It's very stressful, a couple $100,000 worth of camera equipment in the car. And it was me and Scott Graham, formerly of Ironman and a couple other teams. So he and I road trip together and took all the equipment up to, safely get the webcast kicked off there.
Nice. So, since you were there at the beginning, because there was the PSP, right? It kind of imploded and the NXL came back. But there was PB Access. Did you guys get PB Access equipment off the bat, or did you start all fresh?
No, I mean, I think there was a little bit of some equipment, but it was a lot of fresh equipment.
Okay.
I think by the time, that happened, that equipment had kind of been through the ringer, and it was kind of a decision kind of similar to, getting a lot of the assets from the PSP, right? It's like a lot of stuff's kind of beat. Uh, do we really want to, get all this beat equipment? It's kind of like a handful of things where I think transferred over,
Uh-huh.
and then a lot of things were rented right up front. We had worked with a local production company in Dallas, and they helped with running the webcast, directors and camera crew and whatever. And so they helped us with renting all that equipment right off the bat. And then as time kind of progressed, started to acquire things because, it's tough to just be like, hey man, here's $300,000, boop, drop it on a bunch of camera equipment to own.
Yeah.
And so I think there was kind of a combination of renting, owning some stuff, and then acquiring some things. But I think 97% of that was rented and purchased at the time.
So how many people does it take to run the webcast?
Man, successfully,
Yeah, I guess successfully.
yeah, about 15 people probably,
Okay. And that's
roughly.
cameramen and directors and technical
That's
guys.
camera directors, camera switchers, and now we got other things, like the different cameras
Hmm.
that come in, and drone, pilot now, and things like that. Someone doing the graphics, things of that nature. So roughly about 15 people or so.
Okay.
So it's a good crew. I don't think people that spectate that watch the webcast realize what goes on and what goes into
Yeah.
putting on a show like this, especially at these events, and having to show up, plop all your stuff, plug everything in, make it all work, and have everything be seamless. And then you have the elements of the world, right? Like it's windy. Oh no, that microphone is hit by the wind. Oh, it's raining. Oh no, it's hailing.
Hmm.
Oh, a tornado is coming, right? Like we have seen at every single event where there's always something, and you have to be ready for anything, and bag the cameras and be ready to take shelter. And it's a lot
Yeah.
to do, and just setting up the events in itself is a lot. I think people underestimate what it takes to set up the largest paintball field in the world time and time again, 5 times a year. It's just an insane amount of work. So kudos to Fatty and the whole crew that come out and do all that, right off the jump. And then kudos to the squad, at MLPB Plus now, doing all that, because they're really unsung heroes, right? People
Yeah.
don't realize, they take it for granted. Like, I paid $9 for this. I should be able to have premium K footage from 82 angles and every microphone on every player. And it's like, it's not realistic,
Yeah. That's
at all.
asking a lot.
It's, yeah, a bit much. So I'm grateful for that. And it's been cool to see how it's progressed, and got a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better, over the time. So it's cool. And if you're out there listening, I say go support it. A good way to support paintball is supporting the webcast. And it's like, dude, $10 a month. Are we serious? What are we
Yeah.
talking about here?
Yeah.
You pay thousands of dollars to play this sport, and you can't drop $10 to support the live stream and all the crews and people doing it. It's just,
Yeah.
that's crazy to me.
Sis-
I don't even watch it ever, and I pay the thing every month.
Yeah.
You know,
That's how I am. Like I barely watch it, but I just pay for it every month.
yeah. And so many hands make light work, right? Like if everybody comes together, I have this mentality with paintball just as a whole, right? If everybody in the community does a little bit, it compounds, and paintball can be a lot better than it is, right? It's that mentality of like, well, I don't want to do this. Like, oh, somebody else should do this. Like, grow paintball, somebody else should do that. And it's like, nah, man, like you do your little part. You go take 10 people to go play, And if you take 10 people to go play, if you take 5 people to go play, right? We've now brought, 25 people to go play that wouldn't have played otherwise. And who knows, 10 of them might play again without you, with their friends, or at a birthday party, or at any other capacity. And I think that is just a good way to spark it, man. It's everybody just not needing to take the full load of growing it. Just do it a little bit, same thing with this 10, 12 bucks, whatever it is. And just, just pay it, man, and support it. Bigger picture.
Yeah. I'm going to reference something that hasn't come out yet, but the guy whose episode came out right before you, Mike from YB Sports, he does the webcast for the North Georgia X-Ball League. And, he's got like 4 cameras, I think, this year, but it's like just him, and his son helps set up. And just, from that level to PSP level, there's a lot more people, a lot more cameras coming in, right? And I don't think
Yeah.
people realize that.
None at all. I say be grateful for what you have. And like, I mean, dude, back in my day, we didn't have that, man.
No.
We couldn't just tap in and watch these things quite as easily, So it's like, you have something to, like, support it. It's your
Yeah.
local regional series, share it. Go like the page. Go do something. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, become a sponsor of it.
Hmm.
You know, go throw them $200. Like, hey man, I'll pay you $200, man. You throw my logo up on the screen for 30 seconds here and there, right? Like that little bit goes a long way. And again, if enough people do it, it'll grow. And next thing you know, that league now has a more premium webcast, and we can showcase all those players, and they can go back and watch themselves,
Hmm.
and they can see what they did right, see what they did wrong, and that's just, I mean, exactly what we need, right? More footage to watch and grow from, as players. That's one thing where when I was filming, I used to book teams a lot through the years at regional and NXL for video coverage, so raw footage. And my whole thing was like, I'm trying to film this raw so you can watch yourself and see, what are you doing right, what are you doing wrong, see what your other guys are doing, and you can be like, oh man, I didn't realize in the moment that like I had this wide open spot. Like, oh, okay, cool. So I didn't care about making the highlight reels, and I did some of that too, but I didn't care about all that. I'm like, dude, watch this footage and get better from it. Same thing with the
Yeah.
webcast. If you play on a field that has a webcast, whether it's one camera, 4 cameras, 10 cameras, go support that. Go watch yourself play, get better.
Yeah. Yeah. It helps a lot. What you think is a smooth run, you can look back and be like, wow, I'm bouncing all over the place. I need to tighten that
Yeah.
up. Right.
But yeah, you think you look so cool. It's like photos too, right? Like photos are always misleading because
Yeah.
the photographer will find the coolest pic of you in that sequence, but the other 98% of what you just did look goofy. But the one picture of you doing something, it's like, okay, cool, I'll use that one. I'll look cool for that picture. But
Uh-huh.
the video doesn't lie. The video tells you the whole sequence. And if you're running goofy and you're doing goofy stuff and you're shooting weird and you're doing whatever, good luck hiding from that because it's in stone now. It's forever.
Yeah. So you did that just kind of like being involved with Go Sports at the time, did that just naturally evolve into like your marketing director position there?
So yeah, so okay, yeah. Let me continue on from that. So I was working with GI, working with Go Sports at the time. I'm doing the filming, the documentary stuff, the website stuff, the social media stuff, right? All the stuff you saw from Go Sports in the early few years. And then Go Sports and GI transferred to Fort Lauderdale, Florida. At the time, my girlfriend, my wife now, I was in college and she could not move because of her college stuff. And it was free as long as she went to school in Texas. She would have to pay a bunch of money out of state fees. It just didn't make sense for me to move. And so Go Sports, GI, and I parted ways because they wanted me in office and I couldn't do that. So we parted ways. And I think it was like 2 days later, um, Camille and Tom hit me up and said, "Hey, are you interested in?" Because I had already been doing a lot of social stuff for the NXL while I
Yeah.
worked for Go Sports because there was some overlap, right? And some of that management, some of the stuff going on in the industry, right? It's like, gee, I was a partner of the NXL and da 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 da, and shared resources, and they contracted me through the NXL to help them while I worked for Go Sports
Okay.
and GI. And so they were like, "Hey, well, you've kind of already done bunch of stuff with us. So like, can we just bring you on to take over all the marketing and social media and all the stuff there?" And it just seemed like a natural progression for me. So in January of 2017, I hopped over to help the league, I guess, on a more full-time basis. So that was fun, man. It was cool to see the evolution, each year get a little bit better and do a little bit more, offer a little bit
Yeah.
more and do things like, the pro headshots and the graphics that we are enhancing and updating and
Hmm.
upgrading from what people had seen in the past. And spotlights on divisional teams that we never saw before, right? Like just trying to
Yeah.
figure out ways like how can I get a bunch of things involved, right? So that was really, really awesome. I'm super fortunate for the time that I had, this what roughly 7 seasons collectively that I was with the NXL. So I got to go to Europe and do a lot of stuff there. And I ran the webcast over in Europe. That was fun and
Okay. So
stressful.
that was you, huh?
So I had that, and the league, the European paintball isn't quite as big, so the budgets were a lot smaller. And
Yeah.
I don't think people realize that the NXL owners were really floating the NXL Europe for a long time. It wasn't sustainable financially, but they didn't want NXL Europe to die. They didn't want European paintball to die. And I think what people don't realize is that the millennium was going to die. I mean, the millennium was not going to happen anymore. And the NXL came in and said, "Hey, we want to try to do whatever we can to keep paintball at the competitive level, pro level, something." And people, were hating on the NXL, like, "Oh, Millennium, bring it back, bring it back." You have no idea what's going on in the back end. They weren't really just going to exist anymore. So what's the solution? There's just no more pro circuit. There's no more high end competition.
So
Absolutely not, right?
yeah, I mean, and maybe you don't want to speak on this, but to me, it makes a lot of sense to come out and be like, hey, the millennium was going away. We're stepping in.
They got mentioned a lot.
Did it? Because the
Yeah, it got
way
it got mentioned a lot.
the way it came
So
across, I guess, was that the NXL was just buying the millennium, not that
it's kind of
the
strong arming and taking over.
yeah, instead of the millennium was like it was on its last legs and the NXL was doing what it could to save pro paintball in Europe.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously everyone's going to slice it however they want to,
Hmm.
slice it, sure. But it was definitely mentioned a good amount of times and a lot of rebuttals online of saying like, "Hey, like this is the truth of kind of how this unfolded." Um, and the millennium was not looking good. Whether they were going to end that year or they could maybe flow by a little bit longer. Yeah, however, right? NXL was like, hey, the owners were like, hey, we're going to come in and try to help do that, but we're going to do it at this capacity, through the
Yeah.
NXL and kind of through this whole infrastructure. So it was kind of cohesive, right? So it was one kind of overseeing entity of professional paintball rather than multiple circuits, because that's confusing. Paintball is already hyper confusing to everybody.
Hmm.
So let's confuse them more and name it different stuff and have different division names and different stuff like that. Just seems kind of out of whack to me
Hmm.
personally. But in my opinion, those guys came in and saved European paintball and were allowing that level to exist still. So I don't think people realize the loss that those guys have taken just to sustain it and just to make it
Hmm.
even what it
Yeah.
is pretty impressive. And that just shows like the dedication of like Bart and Randy and those guys that
Yeah.
are the owners of just putting the bill to do this for the pure love and passion of paintball.
Well, and Europe's a lot harder than the US, right? Like you're dealing with a lot of different countries, some of which have
Yeah.
very different laws than over here in the US
Yeah.
or even from each other. Like
Yeah.
in Germany, you have to have the F stamp or, it's an illegal firearm over there.
So many more variables. Obviously all of that, is way more complicated. Of course, but it also the fact that it was so many countries made it like 100 times cooler as well
Yeah.
to have so many different languages. Pits yelling over here and then pits yelling over here and then these guys going at it and then da da da. Um, and you just all the people you meet, and I'm forever grateful. I got some friends that I'm still connected with from all over the world. I've made posts and I'm like, hey, I'm in Paris for blah, 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 like who's around? People hit me up like, hey, I'm in Belgium, and then bam, someone hits me up like, hey, yo, where? Here. I'm like, cool, I'll come meet you. I'm 30 minutes away. Like that to me is like just insane, right? Like that community again, it comes into play and being able to have that network all over the world. And that's in part to obviously, my position in paintball, right? Obviously being, who I was and what I did for so long, I kind of had, access to everybody. I was a name that a lot of people knew due to what I did. But like just having that network, man, and having all those people and opportunities to go overseas was life changing for me. So if you haven't played an XL Europe event and you can go to the championship at minimum, it's not in the same location it used to be, the same backdrop. It used to be really, really incredible. But the field they have it at, Ace Paintball out there in Drew, is great. I mean, it's awesome. Just European paintball is just fun and different. If you haven't done it, put it on your checklist. And I will say that to also segue into the leftovers will be debuting in Europe at that event. So we
Nice.
will be having a couple teams. We will have a couple teams at the European event. We have kind of what I kind of call our flagship team, which was this past year, the D4X. We had about 13 people that collectively played on the team throughout the entire season that rotated in and out. But we had a core group of people that played the entire year, which obviously is, opposite of what the leftovers are. Every other team was full throw together. But with this, it was like there was 3 people that played and then other 5 were newer. The next event, 2 of those 3 would play again. And then we'd have a few other new people and then a couple other variation would jump around. Right. So we had about 13 people that collectively played all 5 events, a couple that played every event. And that group just really connected really well. And they want to stick together this year to do a legitimate team with the same group that they played with at World Cup to run it through the whole year for this year again. And then also go out and play in Europe. So that to me is just incredible.
That's awesome.
And then second to that, all the other teams are building. The plan is to do them split. So the thought is to do half American, half European.
Okay.
So you get a good blend.
Yeah.
And so that those Europeans could meet Americans and vice versa. Because that's super fun, man. You get to meet new people that are from the US too, but also you get to meet a few other people from Europe and play with as well. So I'll be promoting that here very soon and building D5 and D4 X ball squads and probably a couple other divisions potentially, but focusing on D5 and D4, kind of like we do in the States to bring some European players and some American players together. So
That's awesome.
No one really knows that beside a few people, so I'll plug that here now first.
Awesome. Well, you heard it here
Because
first.
there's interest. Yeah. And there's interest, man. Europeans that come over and play with us, we're like, hey, man, people at my field love the concept. They want to buy my jersey off of me. They want to da 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 da. Like they want to play, but they can't make it over to the States. Like, would you ever think about doing a European event? And I was like, yes. I wanted to last year, didn't work out, and I said 100,000% we'll be in Paris in 2026. So I know a
That's
lot of
awesome.
people are super excited over there that haven't been able to make their way this way. So
Yeah. Well, and I like
that'll
your
be fun.
idea of having half European, half American and putting them together. That way, like everyone gets to like have that experience, right? That you hear like the older pros talk about when they were going over to Europe and getting to meet all these
Yeah.
guys. And now, if they go back to Europe, they have people to call.
Yeah, and that's cool, man. Expand your network. I mean, all over the place. That's super cool because all four people that might be on your squad might be from all four different countries.
Yeah.
Like that's sweet. It's like
Yeah.
how else and when else have we seen this? You know what I mean? Like I don't think. I mean, I love for anybody to prove me wrong, but I don't think anyone has ever done a free agent program like this before, like to this capacity that I can recall. I've been in paintball for a long time, and I've never seen it. Right, not
Yeah.
at this scale, and not with 1,000 people that have come through, and not with doing all. I don't think anyone's done it. Which not that's not a brag, right? I'm just saying like I saw
Yeah.
a window of opportunity and said, hey man, no one's done it like this, so let's do it. And it just keeps growing, and the interest keeps compounding. So I'm like, I'll keep making teams as long as people keep wanting to play.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome.
here we are.
And
Here we are.
the only other person I can even think about doing something similar, I think Hinman did like a 10-man thing where you could sign up to play as Aftermath one year, but it was
Yeah.
just one event and you're at all the events and running all the different divisions.
All the divisions. Yeah, I know like HydroFit does their 10-man, 10v10 squad. At every event they do a squad. There was one other program, I can't think of the name, but they used to do a throw together team or two, kind of here and there. But yeah, man, we've kind of turned into an army, a free agent army.
That's awesome.
So yeah. So I'm excited for the growth of it, and what we can do this year. I'd like to jump into more of the regional events as well,
Okay.
and try to get some guys at the local level, the WCPPL and USXBL primarily, kind of the larger couple. Mike Kinman is on board. He loves the concept and wants to support it, however he can. And so if you're hearing this and want to play USXBL, WCPPL, we're going to start promoting that through our group page as well.
Okay.
So we'll start in D5 and then we'll try to do a D4 squad and whatever else, we have interest in doing.
So will that be for
Yeah,
Florida,
I'm excited.
Texas, and the West Coast then?
Yeah, we're gonna start. I'd like to do all three of them. We're gonna probably start with the Texas scene, and WCPPL. But I mean, I don't know why not. We'll give it a shot for all three of them. If
All
we
right.
can, let's do it. One downside is that like I can't always be at every single event.
Uh-huh.
So sometimes it gets tricky when it's like coordinating and managing things.
Yeah.
Sometimes people step up. They're like, "Hey, man, I'll be the team captain," right? Or higher division guys that have more experience will help the lower division guys kind of coach them a little bit and do a little bit more. But with my family and with my business, I have a lot of conflicts,
Uh-huh.
and so I'm not able to make every event anymore. And so it's really hard to be remote and be trying to coordinate. We'll have 6 or 7 squads at
Yeah.
whatever NXL event in the middle of the year, and I'm at home trying to like coordinate stuff, and people are messaging me. I'm like, go pick up your tickets here, and like, hey, they're picking up the tickets right here. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
coordinating with a lot of people, and each event will have 50 different people that have never played with us before, and so I'm trying to explain how things work and coordinate logistics, and not being boots on the ground, man, is really hard.
Yeah,
So
I
World Cup was
can
was
only
awesome.
imagine.
Yeah, World Cup was total chaos in like the best way, but just because we had so many people, and I was pulled in so many directions, man. We literally had my schedule for every team, and I'm running from pit to pit, like helping one team, like coaching, auditing, doing whatever I can, like giving some guidance, and then I'd run to the next pit on the next field and like help the next team out because there's so many schedule overlaps, right? Because there's
Mm-hmm.
so many teams, and they'd be playing on different fields. So I literally would help for 10 minutes here, and then sprint over, and help for 10 minutes here, and sprint over, and I was kind of all over the place, which is good. And they understood, right? Like, hey,
Yeah.
man, you got 100+ people to help, right? We can't, everyone can't be a priority. And so I try to help a little bit for everybody as best I could. But yeah,
It'd be really dope of the NXL to give you a tent kind of at the end of the trade show row there, just
yeah,
so you could have like a
yeah,
central location to coordinate because you're bringing a lot of players. So,
yeah,
come on, a 10 by 10 or a 10 by 20 tent for you. I don't think that's asking too much. You've brought in a lot of players. I know they help out with the entry
yeah.
and stuff, but it
Well, so
might be
to
nice.
that, you are correct. They will be. We will have that for this year.
Okay,
So
awesome.
that is, I actually had. Yeah, that is something that we'll have this year. We're gonna call it the Leftovers Lounge, and it's gonna be kind of the hangout spot and kind of an area where everybody can kind of congregate together and gear up and hang out and meet other people from other squads, kind of taking five and catching some shade and things like that. So we will have an area that'll be kind of the Leftovers Lounge area, hangout area. So we'll try to get some refreshments in there and just a little stuff here and there, a couple tables, right? People to
Yeah,
pop their stuff up, and a couple of chairs so you can take five, and so we'll have a little zone
awesome.
at the event. So I'm
Yeah.
excited for that. So I'm glad you said that. So because yes,
I'm glad they did that for you. Or I hope they did that for you. Did make you pay a vendor fee.
no, I mean Tom and I go way back, obviously. So and he and Kevin and the group, they really enjoy the leftover stuff. And there have been so many good reviews that people have passed along to them. I mean, we were buzzing at World Cup, man. He kept coming up to me like, dude, I keep hearing people talk about the leftovers and mention the leftovers and da 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 leftovers, leftovers, leftovers. I'm like, that's sweet, that's cool.
That is awesome.
So he's like, what can we do to help, man? Can we give you like a tent area, like a whole thing to hang out in? I'm like, that sounds great. Like, I like that idea. Okay, where else can we go with this? So yeah, so I'm excited that they're on board and they're supportive of it, and obviously it's helpful for the league, of course, and the growth of it, and just sustainability and just size wise, right, to bring all these people that wouldn't have otherwise shown up with no squad. So yeah, and they're just stoked because I mean they don't have to do it right as well. They don't have to put out all the feelers to find the people and do it and do all that stuff. Where at first that was my thought working with the league was like, how can I do this like through the league specifically? And there might still be on PB leagues, the like if you need a team thing, like free agent button,
Yeah.
there used to be one. But most people didn't see that. And most of the time there wasn't enough clicks, enough people in there that clicked it and pursued it to even build a squad.
Okay.
So there'd be like a couple in this division, a couple in this division,
Uh-huh.
one or two in this division. So there's never enough. And then you had to feel like, okay, well, who's going to manage this? Who's going to like actually piece this all together and coordinate with the people
Hmm.
rather than just like, hey, show up at 8 o'clock, your game's then come play. I think nobody wanted to take that on. So,
So you took it on,
so I took it on. I like to
you're,
torture myself. I like to be way,
yeah,
way too busy for my own good.
running one team's headache enough and you're running several. So you're
Yeah.
truly about grow the sport. No one
There,
can say that you've said it and haven't done it. So
it's a hashtag, but man, it's really an action, like what are you actually doing to grow paintball? And I'll use that if you don't mind to segue and mention very briefly that I do have something else cooking on the growing paintball side of things that will help people all over the country and introduce a lot of people to paintball. And it's not out there yet, and I've been working kind of in the shadows, building this up. But here I'm hoping to debut it in for Tampa for that event, and that whole program that we're going to be doing, I think will be monumental and be even bigger than what the leftovers is, and grow paintball more than I think anyone has at a grassroots, recreational, get people out to try paintball kind of way ever. So I'm really excited for that. So I'll plug that for the first time as well on here for you. So I'm stoked. I'm overwhelmed, but I'm stoked. It's going to be exciting.
keep an eye out or ear out for it. I guess details will be coming forward.
Yeah.
Well, awesome, man.
So I think we'll launch it. Oh, coming up on an hour. Oh, dang.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to get you in trouble,
Yeah.
but you'll think you'll launch it when?
So I think in Tampa, and I would love to do a collaboration with the league to have them promote it, because this is something that I want to get the entire industry and community kind of on board with as much as possible. Again, I always say many hands make light work, right? So we all kind of do a little bit and all can kind of lend our hand. I think this is something that people will get behind, and it's something that it's not going to like, you don't have to do a lot really. Like you're, I don't want to give away too much, right? But like, it'll be very simple to support it, to help grow it all over the place, right? I mean, there's gonna be kids all over the country at fields, at parks in every state essentially, that are going to be playing paintball because you did something XYZ that you would have already done anyway, right? Or something you wanted to pick up, you picked up and it supported this, and et cetera, et cetera. There's gonna be a handful of ways that you can support it as the community, and so it'll be kind of seamless. It's not like, hey man, like just donate to our GoFundMe to sponsor some people to try paintball.
Uh-huh.
It's like, you know, a little bit better than that. So
Okay.
I don't want to give away too much or get into it too deep, but I'm really, really excited. It seems like the league is super excited for it as well. So
Well,
yeah.
we'll wrap it up there because I know you got young ones and they got to go to bed. So,
Yeah, sure.
thank you for your time. If it when it launches in Tampa, I'd love to have you back on, and maybe even if it's just for 30 minutes, talk about how it went.
Yeah.
So, but shout
Yeah.
out whoever you
I would
want to
love that.
shout out, man.
Yeah, man. Well, first and foremost, I want to shout out everybody who plays for the leftovers. Without all you guys and girls, I wouldn't be able to keep doing it. So just much love to all of them. Shout out to Kinetic Paintball, Rob and the crew, Rob Moore for supporting us and for making those jerseys for us. Shout out to Infamous Paintball, shout out to Samansky and the squad for the paint and the hookups on all kinds of things that the group is able to benefit from through that. And just everybody who supported the Chiefs and me just in general. So I've been really blessed to have a lot of people that have showed me a lot of love over the years. So I just want to shout out to everybody. If you rock with me, I love you, and I'm the type that if you rock with me, man, I'll ride hard for you. So that's what I'm about. So I appreciate you. Shout out to you for having me on here, man. It's been cool to kind of pop my cherry on the podcast game. This
Thank
isn't
you.
my thing. I'm a behind the camera type of guy, not in front of it.
Like I told
It's
you in the
been
green
different for
room,
me.
highly requested. So
I'm
the
flattered.
people love you.
Flattered.
So,
Cool.
but
Appreciate it. I love the people.
we got to hang out for like a minute at most, and everyone else, we'll see you next time on the Planet Paintball Podcast.
Thanks for tuning in to the Planet Paintball Podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Whether you're out there grinding in the divisional pits or chasing dreams on the pro stage, remember, it's all about the passion, the hustle, and the love for the sport. Until next time, keep grinding, keep growing, and we'll see you back here on the Planet Paintball Podcast